I'm Rob Sarney, and you're listening to What the Heck Fintech, where you'll experience and learn that fintech is fin life. Let's get started. Welcome back to part 2 with Ralph Dalgemeier. If you didn't hear part 1, please go back and listen to it to hear about his amazing background, how he started in banking, and why I call him the king of all payments.
So that's consumer or agentic AI hitting agentic commerce. I think it's kind of cool, and I think you're going to see lots of new companies innovation on this.
Yeah, and as you were telling that story, I mean, this is what I would think. I think people will try it a little bit. They'll try it on some like low risk item. Okay, it could be sneakers, could be golf balls, right? And it could be from a seasonal thing and see how it goes for a couple months. And then they'll get more confidence. They'll They'll add more things, right? They'll start managing it. They'll ask for more. They'll use more checkpoints. And then they might peel it back after a while once they realize, okay, they asked me, they don't need to ask me anymore. Every time they ask me a question, I say yes. It really understands me now, right? So then they'll kind of peel that back just a little bit. Some will and some won't, but they'll all be at different speeds because humans are humans, right? They all have different risk levels. But I bet they'll all try it. Like that's how I would do it. I'd try it, see how it works, see how efficient it makes me. But there's a lot of like I don't shop. It's all online, for me anyway. And if I do shop, it's usually I ask my wife, can you hook me up? I kind of need some more shirts,
Yeah.
And then, so I agree. I think that's going to be a wave. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be a big wave, and I think this is the first time now that I've seen in commerce the card companies and the brands, the card brands, putting in rules, putting in pilots. There's 100 pilots going on right now with Visa and MasterCard in this. So this is real. This is coming. And you brought up a good point. We talked about shopping, which is different than buying. Right? Shopping is shopping, and buying is when you buy. And so there's always this slang, how do you convert shoppers to buyers, right? That's kind of like a thing that we say in payments. Well, what's going to happen is with the right authentication, and I say that in quotes, your bot will have the authorized to buy for you. So when you see the Titleist Pro V1 golf balls they're selling for under $50, you're going to tell that to buy. Now, who authorized that transaction? Did you authorize it? The bot authorized it? It's going to get messy. And so there's going to be a lot of, rules put in place about what can this bot do or not do. It's kind of like when I talk about those Waymos, when you get in these cars, and there's always rules that are put in place and testing. So that it is going to go to that level, Rob. You're going to see that in the bot will buy for you after shopping. I think some people are going to put rules in to say, no, shop for me, present it, then I'll buy. But some may say, no, when it hits the price, just buy it and ship it to me. So it's going to get that crazy. Now, on the flip side, everyone thinks, okay, that's what the consumer is doing, it's what the buyer is doing. The merchant, the seller, has to now, they don't just sit around and start, selling golf balls. They actually have to do quite a bit of work on their side to catch the bots buying for you. And people well, what does that mean? I don't understand. Well, when Apple Pay first came out, or PayPal first came out, in order to get those buttons on your site so that you could use those tools was work. And I think the merchants are significantly behind the development work they need to do to recognize good bot, bad bot, real person, not real person. Is something called deep fake, which is people impersonating you or your bot now. So people can go in and do identity theft on you. Well, they're also going to be bad guys. They're going to try to hijack your bot and have it do things that you don't want it to do. So there's a whole bunch of work that the merchant has to do to make sure this is really you and you're really buying golf shirts or golf balls, and accept these types of payment types in order to do the commerce. It doesn't just happen automatically. So there's a lot of innovation and new opportunities that are coming there. And if you think about it, it probably is going to create a new wave of search optimization because the bot isn't using Google like you do today. So it's going to have to reinvent itself. And people like Gemini and Claude and Anthropic are actually developing tools that allow bots to search them. So it gets pretty complex and complicated here, but the opportunity is kind of crazy when you think about what's going to happen long term with AI and payments. So I just tease that out there. There's a lot more going on in AI and payments, but that's one that I think people are going to see pretty soon. It's going to really impact everyone's lives that does e-commerce shopping.
Yeah, and it almost like, as you were saying it, it made me think of like let's talk about the financial industry, right? For when you buy stock, you can put a floor, you can put a ceiling, right? You need to put your parameters in so when that price hits, you don't miss it and you get it. Same concept with buying sneakers or golf balls or basketballs or whatever it is, right? So same fundamentals, set up the rules, what's right for you, or no rules to ask me, right? And it all depends on how that person wants to consume and make those decisions and they might even say, I need more information before I can say yes or no. Or use both. I got a floor, I got a ceiling. Now come and ask me, do I want it? Because if you think about how much money you could save, that's the biggest thing, the efficiency of it all. Like people want to get, 10, 20 plus, yield on their investment. Well, you want to get that kind of same yield on your payments. Think how much money you'll save on everything you buy throughout the year or your life. If you get a 20% return on, and by savings wise, discount wise, but which really is a savings, your money's going longer. So that's huge, right? And then you're also beating inflation at that point too, right?
Right.
So huge.
And especially when you get to large ticket items, like if you think about the price variety in concert tickets, events, airline tickets. I know a lot of guys that are constantly searching SeatGeek and Ticketmaster to try to find, what's optimal time to go to a Patriots game or a Red Sox game or a Lady Gaga concert. Now you could just tell your bot, I'm willing to pay this price sitting here, search the place. If that comes up, buy it. I'm willing to fly to Miami on, JetBlue for this price. And if it hits, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So you can actually put these things in and make the purchase happen when the price is what you want it to be. So it's going to create major efficiency in the systems of purchasing when there's price variation. I mean, let's be honest, price of golf balls may vary $5 or $10. It's not relevant, but you can have thousands of dollars in swings on major purchases. So I actually think it's going to be used pretty heavily for many things, not just for small transactions. I've heard that before. And I'm like, I don't know. You really want to use this stuff on the big transactions where there's real money to be saved, and you're wasting. I don't know how many hours I spend looking at flights and trying to optimize flights and hotels. Boy, that's going to really take a knack out of it. It's going to really I think it's going to create issues in the travel industry. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm a little bearish on travel stocks because the pressure of travel oil. You look at what's going on in the TSA and the governments, and you look at sort of all these issues we have with traveling lately, and then you've got these bots, and the stocks have run way up. So I don't know. I could be dead wrong, but I think that's going to be interesting, and I think crypto is going to creep into this as well.
Yeah. Before you get into crypto, because I do want to talk about crypto and stablecoin and all that too. I think you're not dead wrong. You're dead right. Because my wife and I, we love our travel, right? We love our cruises. We love our Disney trips, right? But it's almost like a game that we have fun with, is trying to get that best buy to really get there as many times as humanly possible on our vacations. But you look at flights. And sometimes, and this is more my wife telling me, because she's on it all the time, right? So she would love this, right? To put the rules in, because she has her own little rhythm going on there. And then, like, you'll see something for a couple hours, the price goes way up. and then it stays up for a few days, and then it comes back down again for a
Right.
flight. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Oh,
Right.
I missed it. We go wait it out and keep an eye on it. And and that actually just happened to a trip we were planning for Disney, right? That we're taking our kids and their significant others, right? So it was the price went way like I was like 3 times more because of everything that's going on with oil
Yeah.
prices and everything. But then it came back down to normal and we jumped
Yeah.
on it. And then it went back up like 2 hours later. Like, what? Was it
Yeah.
a glitch that they had? Or was that there was something going on there with some algorithm, but we got to capitalize on it? It's the timing. It's just like stocks. It's
Right. So
all
now you
about
don't
the
have to worry about
timing.
that. Yeah. And you know, there's a big, I don't know if you read all these Reddit blogs on travel, they say most people book travel on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, and then they don't book on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays. So it's better to book your plane tickets on Tuesday than Saturday. And so you're now forget all, and then you forget because you get busy at work on Tuesday morning. Forget all that. Now you just got you program your bot. So you know, I don't know. They're saying 1% usage the first year. I I think it's going to be bigger. It's my 2 cents. I think these things are once you really get comfortable, and I've demoed some of these. I mean, they're incredible. They're incredible how they're tied into Siri and they're tied into what you're buying, and so we'll see what the usage is, but I think it's going to be powerful change in what's going on in fintech.
So now that you brought it up already, let's pivot a little bit to stablecoin, crypto, payments like that, and Web3, tokenization, all that goodness, which is the infrastructure is not quite there everywhere like it is for everyday payments, but it's going to get there someday. What's your take on all that? What do
Yeah,
you see?
yeah. So, well, let's put things into buckets. I mean, I'll pick off one of them really quick. I mean, people are. It's funny. Tokens have been around for 15 years, kind of like crypto started in '08,
Yeah.
and no one really heard about it probably till 5 or 6 years ago. So tokens have been used. I've been using tokens since 2010. And what a token is, it's actually a secured number that's linked to your card. And the theory is that the token is encrypted in a way that's never been proven to be hacked. And so something like, so what does that really mean? So if you have a Capital One card and you load into Apple Pay, and then you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you buy something with Apple Pay, Apple Pay is using a token to talk to the issuer of the card to make the purchase. So in theory, that's an incredibly safe way to pay. So if you always used a token, which you don't have any control over, the card issuers and acquirers do, but let's say you always use Apple Pay with your purchases, the odds of your credit card getting compromised are almost zero. Okay, it's when your card leaves your hands that it gets compromised, right? You don't know if someone takes a picture of it or someone behind you snaps a picture when your card. I mean, people don't realize you're in line at Dunkin' Donuts, you pull your card out, someone takes a photo of your card. You wouldn't even think of that happening, but it does. So anyway, that's a good summary of tokens. Now it relates to crypto and stablecoin. Again, it takes a long time for payments to be accepted and adapted by consumers because it's your money and it's confusing and you're not sure and you don't want to do anything you're not sure of. So we talked about crypto has been around for a long time, probably almost 20 years now. It's been more adaptive lately because people have started to make it part of investments. There's been real exchanges that have opened up, right? Like Coinbase and those kind of things where you can buy all kinds of cryptocurrencies, of course, Bitcoin being the most well-known, but there's thousands of these cryptocurrencies and they can be brought up by anybody. Again, I'm not taking sides here, but it seems a little crazy to me that like Elon Musk and Donald Trump create their own crypto coins, right? Like, but they did, and they became valuable, and it's just what's going on in the world. Now, stable coins is a little bit different because stable coins is usually backed. So crypto, those coins are backed by a person or a company. Bitcoin's backed by nothing. And so you kind of have to believe in the person or the company. Stable coins is different, right? They're backed by a fiat currency usually. So there's a currency backed, a US dollar, Japanese yen. And what's really going on there and why this is going to become more predominant in the purchasing of goods and services, kind of back to our Agentic conversation, is if you're trying to sell something in Italy and you want to buy a new ski helmet from Italy, because Italians make great ski helmets, well, they may want to collect that money in euros, you're sitting in US dollars. Now, what happens is you both open a US dollar stablecoin account and they can basically trade in the same currency without having new currency conversions. So it's really, again, my whole theory of fintech being, financial and technology coming together to become more efficient. One of the inefficiencies we have in our payments globally is foreign currencies. Stable coins is effectively going to create margin squeeze on foreign exchange. Now, a lot of people come to me, and these are really well-educated people, and they say, well, I don't pay foreign exchange fees. Okay, you may not pay a foreign exchange fee, but you definitely pay a foreign exchange spread. And so people, they don't understand that, right? So it's like, well, you're not paying a fee to do a trade, but you're paying a 1% spread, which is worse than a fee. So so the marketing that's going on by the card companies is brilliant, because I would say 90% of the people I talk to say, well, that doesn't impact me. Well, it really does. You're paying 1 to 2% more for that transaction. And again, if it's small money, not a big deal. But if you're buying a cruise or airline tickets, it's material money. Yep. So I think you're going to see stable coins in the checkout flow more predominantly than you're going to see traditional cryptocurrencies.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you hit a little bit on this too. Since with ACI, what you were talking about from a global payment standpoint.
Yeah.
What's the U.S. look like? Are we behind? Are we ahead? Well, what do you think from a regulation, from a payment standpoint? What are you seeing?
Well, look, the U.S. is ahead in tons of things, right? I mean, we spend a lot of money. We have the world's best economy. I mean, there's lots of things going on here. What it's amazing to learn, though, is what we're behind on is really the adoption of security, the adoption of moving money faster than the rest of the world. So the Europeans, for example, had this thing called chip and pin, where you dip your card into the reader at stores 10 years before we said we should do it. Fraud had gone down something like 85% in Europe. And we took us 10 years to adopt this. Oh, it made no sense. They kept saying, well, we don't want to put 10 million new terminals out, but we were getting crushed with fraud. The Europeans came out years ago, 10 years ago now, with something called open banking, which is moving money on called like ACH type rails instantaneously. We just came out with something called same day ACH, and we're just coming out with something called real-time, basically real-time Fed's wire, which moves money instantaneously and cheaper, and it's going to open on Sundays. Because if you think about how inefficient our money moves, you can really only send money from 9 to 4. That makes no sense. Crypto you can buy all the time. So we're going to move our money movement to more of a same day, Sundays, and we're going to expand our payments and add security. Europeans way ahead of us on this stuff. And you could also say a lot of the third world countries or companies that had economic challenges, we were the first people to really push crypto and Bitcoin. It wasn't us. So we think we're ahead and we're kind of trained to that, and we are in a lot of things, but we're starting to realize maybe we're not in the way we move money. Maybe we're not in the way we do healthcare. Maybe we're not in the way we do education. Maybe we're not in the way we do, drone warfare. And I think it's kind of been exposed a little bit that the United States needs a lot more education, a lot more work in how we operate things today. So it's a little bit being philosophical, Rob, but that's how I
like
see
it. I think I totally agree with you. I'd love to hear, because I know you coach up a lot of startups. I'd love to hear, what are the like what's the number one and I'll say number one and number two things do you tell startups when they're getting when they're doing their fintech startup? What do you coach them on like right out of the gate? Got to do what X? What is that?
Well, there's three or four things that you got to do. It's really never one thing, and I think that's what they think. And so I'm always like, it's a basket of things. So first of all, your product has to solve a problem. It just has to solve a problem, and it's got to be really clear, and you got to be able to say that in 30 seconds. Okay, so that's one thing. The second thing is you've got to be able to demonstrate that you can get product in the market, and you can make money doing it. And I always tell people that's the base, and then you got to have a group of people, whether it's 2, 4, 5, that really work together well on the same mission, and it's not crazy. And let's get yourself to $1 million of revenue first, and let's see if we can get that going. And do we have to raise a little money to get there? Okay, yeah, maybe a little bit, not crazy amounts of money. And then once we get there, now we're then trying to get to $5 or $10 million, and then maybe we're raising money in that realm. So usually the business plan they put together it's way too optimistic. As a founder or starter, you got to get started. Startup Nation, one of the most greatest books written by the Israelis. You got to get started. Good. A lot of people get started, but most people can't get to $1 million, and very few can get to 10 million. And usually because their business plan is so optimistic that they plan on nothing going wrong. And we all know when you go through life, a lot of things go wrong, and you've got to figure out how to deal with it. And so you got to sort of plan for things that you don't know are going to happen. So a lot of times what I'm doing is pulling back the business plan and getting to work with people who have experience in what they've done. So that's probably the last point I make is, the biggest thing you can do is not make the mistakes that others have. So if you can try to talk to the people that have made those mistakes, learn, and you can learn from what they've done. You're not going to avoid them all, but you can really minimize it. So a lot of startups like, I want to optimize this, and I want to optimize this, and I want to do this most efficiently. I'm like, well, who have you talked to then? Because if you told me to go, build a shed, it's probably going to take me a couple of months because I have no idea what I'm doing. But my neighbor over here has built 10 sheds, so I'm going to go ask him how to do it. That's how you optimize things. And they look at me and go like, oh, I never kind of thought of that. Like it's pretty straightforward. So asking for help, because generally speaking, it's amazing how many times people want to help people in business, but they don't want to help people who don't listen. And that's really the bottom line. So it's kind of like this little formula of things that you got to put together to make sure that the business really gets off the ground and then gets to the next level.
Yeah. Those are words to live by for fintech, for life, for whatever it is, right? Yeah. Reach out, ask your questions, get help. Life is hard. Projects are hard. Fintech is hard. It takes a village to figure this stuff out. And why reinvent the wheel, right? So
right.
Wow, I love those fundamentals just in general. So,
Good.
So Ralph, I know this audience is going to want to reach out to you, learn from you, have you guest speak in their classes, talk, guest speak, whatever it is, companies. What's the best way for, this audience to get connected with you? Is it LinkedIn? Is it something else? What do you recommend?
I mean, I'm active on LinkedIn, so I'm there, Ralph Dangelmeyer. I'm also, my email is really simple. It's Ralph@paymentsadvisoryteam.com, one word. So a lot of people forget the S. It's Payments Advisory Team. Even though I'm doing more than payments, I'm doing a lot of SaaS and security. But that's where I grew up, and when I got the name, it kind of coincidentally is Pat, P-A-T, which kind of people think is funny because I'm a Patriots fan, but that was just a weird coincidence. So a lot of people call me P-A-T, but that domain was too expensive to buy. So payments advisory team is what I chose. And we got a group of folks that really help people as they're accepting or issuing payments be more efficient in what they do, lowering their costs, optimize their payments. And the second thing we do is we advise companies that are in payments, SaaS platforms of security, with fundraising, go-to-market, and just call it general business strategies. So we got a great book of clients, and it's been going real well, Bob.
Wow, yeah, that's great, Ralph. I want to say thank you so much. I mean, you hit so many unbelievable angles, things that, would take a long time for people to, to find all these stories and those words of wisdom that you just shared with us. So I really want to say thank you, Ralph. Our audience says thank you. And yeah, we'll be collaborating. We'll be seeing each other. We'll be bumping into each other, right? So I can't wait for that. Well, we'll see each other tomorrow at an event that we're both collaborating on.
Yeah.
So
And then again, we're doing a Shark Tank event together as well at the end of the month.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. We're having some fun. We're having some fun.
Shark Tank's a blast.
That's gonna be great. So Ralph, thank you so much. I just want to say, everybody, bye now, and have and get connected with this guy. He knows his stuff.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to What the Heck FinTech. Make sure you tune into our next episode as we continue to interview FinTech leaders and share real-world stories from across the FinTech ecosystem, so you can fully understand that FinTech is Fin Life.